Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, Oak House Journals. I hope everyone is staying safe and well and managing or rather coping in the lockdown situation that we have at the moment. I know in our crafting community there has been some lovely support flying around and lots of lovely videos to watch. I'm hardly getting any crafting done because I'm so happy watching everybody's work, and as you can see from the shadow here and the sunlight, we've got a glorious day here in Lancashire. First off, quickly, sorry about the plaster everybody. I had a bit of a fight with an inanimate object this morning, and well, you know the scenario, it won and I didn't, but at least I get to wear my ladybug plasters. So yeah, there we go. I just wanted to share very quickly a friendship journal page that I've made using Ella Fleur digital collection from Antique Paperie. Love this collection, not as much as the Nagasaki, but I do love it. So I just thought that I would share it with you. And this whole page is inspired by the lovely Angela Kerr. And if I flip it over, you'll see why, because this is her 3 stacking envelope, part of her tutorial that she did, and this is my take on that. So a fantastic tutorial. If you've not seen it, go over and have a look on Angela's channel, and I'll put the link down below because it really is excellent and such good fun to make. And of course, we've got loads of time to do these things now, haven't we? So this is my page. The front, it's just a A4 sheet of tea stain paper, and on each page I've taken a bit of the digi kit and torn it with a tearing ruler, inked it and stitched it onto the page. So that's the basis of every page. Here I've made a pocket. Well, it's not a pocket, it looks like a pocket. It's just a big journaling spot, as you can see, with collaging at the bottom, stitched and inked. It's some of the paper that I've lined with tea stained paper, and what I've done here is I've made a little side tuck spot. This is an Amity Bloom, I think she calls them her herb cards, but they're on her website and they're a digital download. So I printed those on card, lined them with a bit of the digi kit that I've just mentioned, the Ella Fleur, and stitched around it and stitched it into my page. And I put lace top and bottom here, and I've stitched on a couple of buttons, and then I made this tiny little charm, and a bow, and that has just gone on the end of my threads. So that just closes up like so. This is just pink crochet cotton and a bow that I had in my stash, and then, as I say, the charm is one that I made. Tiny little bit of collaging in the bottom, the obligatory Tracy Fox label, some vintage document there, and an old vintage stamp. The whole journaling spot has been backed onto some tea stained paper, which again I've stitched to the page. And then this is the tag that I've put in the back of that pocket. So there's some vintage lace here, some dyed seam binding, a little tiny tag, a coilless paper clip, safety pin, not paper clip, and again some more of those little tiny charms that I made, and a couple of sea beads. Again, the tag is just made with bog standard 280 gram cardstock from my stash, covered with the digiprint, collage with antique document and a Tracy label and some fussy cutting, and then more collaging on the back. Well, just a little bit. That's a little bit of the digi kit, another label, and this is some more of that document. So that just goes in the back pocket like so. Turning the page, if I open it up, and it should be like that. Here on this page I deconstructed 2 envelopes and cut a rectangle in them, put some acetate behind it, stitched round it. Before I did that, I covered the envelopes with more of this vintage document and created 2 pockets, and these 2 are magnetized at the top and the bottom there to help keep them together. And then in each pocket I've put a tag, again the digi collection, more of the handwritten document, tea stain paper, and then more Amity Bloom labels, and then it's just plain on the back. And this one is exactly the same, just with a different image, so they're kind of a matching pair there. Same layering, and that's the back. Inside each pocket I've lined with some of the digi paper so that you've got a point of interest when the tags are out of the pockets, and they just go in there like so. And then on the back all I've done is again more of the vintage document and the digi kit to cover the back of the envelope, and a journaling spot, and that's the same on both sides. And here I just put a big journaling spot and some fussy cut image, so that shuts up like so. Here is a corner tuck spot, but quite a large one. On the bottom of the corner I've laid it up with some contemporary lace, a Tracy labels, some part of a vintage doily, some more of that document, and then this is some vintage chiffon there. And I've just done a ruffle in the same seam binding to keep the consistency throughout. These 2 pieces, as you can see, fit perfectly in there, and obviously you'll know what they are. They're the offcuts from the envelope before I cut it out and lined it with acetate. So a couple more of those images from Amity Bloom, from Nazi's shop, and all I've done is I've stitched round the edge of my card, inked it round, and then I've done a zigzag stitch on each of those images. I just really liked how neutral they looked, and it blended all in nicely. And as you know, I like to have a consistency running through, so that's why I've used these offcuts as well as using them up. And then on the back I've just lined them with some of the paper from the Ella Fleur digi kit. And then here's a couple of tags that I've made. This time I've covered them with the digi kit, stitched round, and then put the Amity Bloom images on, but these are blue ones, because there's a hint of blue in this digi kit. It's absolutely gorgeous. And then I used some of the antique doily, chopped it out, and I've just stitched it on the top. And look at this, loose threads. Well, they're not loose threads, they are secured and tied off, but normally I clip them short. So I'm getting there with being a bit more rustic in my look. I've covered the stitching over on the back with some tea stained paper, just to give a couple of journaling spots. And then I came across this last week in a vintage shop that is near me, and it's a Canadian postage letter. It is vintage, but it's unused, and it all opens up like so, and you write your letter inside here and then fold it up like so and seal it. And I just thought that had a lovely image on it. I bought 2 of these. I found 2, and I just love them. They were in immaculate condition, so I just thought they would be lovely to include in a journal. And there's another smaller image on the big image on the reverse side. And because it had blues and greens, I thought this went perfectly in the or with this digi kit. So they just tuck away in that pocket, or side tuck, if I can get them in. Here we go. And then going over to the reverse, this is that lovely triple stacking pocket that Angela showed me how to do. So thank you, Angela. So this is my first envelope. I've covered it over with a digi kit, some tea stain paper, some of the vintage script, and then did a fussy cut on the top, and I've edged it with some lace down the side. This is the tag that I made to go in the bottom, and I've again digi kit, vintage document, seam binding, very simple, stitch and ink round the edge, and then I had this lovely piece of lace which I was going to leave loose, but obviously when you put this tag in upside down in the bottom pocket, it doesn't work very well, so I've actually glued it down. And then just simple collaging, you know me, on the back with some Edith Holden book page. So that goes in the bottom here, and I love how this seam binding just pops out the bottom. So this lifts up. And again, all I've done here is I've stitched on some of the digi kit, glued on some tea stained paper and a little bit of fussy cutting down here, and I just trapped the lace behind. On this one, I've just left it plain, just stitched it on, did a little collage in the bottom. If I can get that to focus. It's probably not going to focus. Nope. Layers of lace, some of the crochet cotton, a little vintage button, vintage stamp, tiny label, and that just gives a bit of interest there. And again, it's edged with some quite delicate lace down the side. I'm not sure if I can get the camera to pick that up for you. There you go. Sorry. Oh, I've got glue on my fingers there. Tell I've been working today, or crafting. So a little bit of lace trim there. So over the page, this is where I've trapped the lace trim. Big journaling spot here and another big journaling spot here. This almost looks like it's been gessoed over, but you could easily write, especially down this side here if you wanted to. But this is the main area for journaling. As you can see, a seam binding ruffle down this left-hand edge. And here, with Angela's pockets, or stacking pockets, she has an opening down this side. Now, okay, I'll own up. I should have done that, but I stitched on my lace. So that snookered me, other than chopping my lace off, which I didn't want to do, because that would have wrecked my layering and the collage that I'd done on this side. So what I did instead was I made a secret journaling spot, but it couldn't be too secret, otherwise you'd not get it out. So I've just notched a little thumb hole there. And then this is the journaling card that I've done to go in there. So Edith Holden as my backing, the digi kit, zigzagged round the edge, and then just some collaging. And that's what it looks like on the reverse. More of the same, with some washi and a stamp and a bit of my stamping. And that goes back in there. Whoops, I've got it in at an angle. There we go. And as I say, nothing happening here really, other than you can use it as a journaling spot. And then over the page here, I've used some prose from the Edith Holden book, which I've stitched on to some of the French handwritten script, and then again it's onto the digi page, which is also stitched on. And then this side I'm kind of assuming that you would use as your journaling spot. And then I did a mixture up here in this corner of book pages stitched together, vintage pages, and some vintage lace, and some of the seam binding underneath to give a hint of the green and to take that colour all the way through it, and a little bit of that doily. And then there's some, whoops, I'm pointing to something you can't see, more of the French handwritten script at the bottom there, and at the top just layered on for interest. So that's what I've been playing with. Oh, I forgot to show you. In the side here, there is underneath this ruffle, so it's between that page and the page with the ruffle, if I can get hold of it, there is a big journaling card that goes in that pocket there. And this is the big journaling card, more vintage lace, and some tied through a whale tail tab. And this is the collaging on the back, and if this looks a little bit loose, well, there's a reason. I just kind of wanted to make it a semi-secret journaling spot tucked behind that flap there. So that goes in this side pocket here, behind the ruffle and between the lace, and it's easy to overlook, as I almost did. So there we go, everybody. I hope you like what I've been playing at today, and I hope you all stay well and happy and keep crafting. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. Take care. Bye bye now.